what begins here for the process, or really ends for the oyster, that's the sack of Louisiana oysters. What is that, a 50-pound, Thomas?
Well, at least 50.
Okay.
At least
That's
50.
that's what we'll be seeing opened up right now. Now, Thomas, how long have you been working here?
I've been working it for 38 years, started off in the kitchen, then decided to try something different. Taught myself how to do this by watching other people. They was teaching me, but they didn't know it because on permission wise, but just for me to watch and learn and never done it before. And I knew of it, but didn't know how to do it. Then I got the opportunity to learn how to do it. And here I am, and pretty simple thing to do. First you have to learn the oyster.
Oh, good. Okay.
Meaning as in knowing it's an oyster. That's the front of the oyster where it opens to feed and filter.
Okay.
Then you have the seams. Of course, you could go there, but that's another story. That's something you have to teach yourself.
All right.
You have the back, which is the hinge, and it like a hinge.
So you were working to destroy that hinge, huh?
Well, let's say you just want to break the cork to kind of hold it to your comfort. Get your knife, put your tip of your knife in. You kind of wiggle it until your head pop. You heard that? And so do like that, and I slide it over. I pass the knife across the shell, not sideways, but down, and I curve the knife until I follow the shell so it can release. And you should want to try to get all of the oyster that you can from the shell. Better presentation and presentation part, man.
Yes.
And anyone can do it if they just keep at it for a while.
Do a couple thousand, you get good at it, huh? Just like anything.
Yeah. Especially if you have the interest in it, you know, if the interest is there. Some now, depends on the size of the oyster, how the cartilage is going to be. And that's just cartilage. Is that keeps the oyster together in the back. So an oyster is almost like a puppet. It talks to you. And so that's.
I imagine you do have some interesting conversations with oysters.
It don't. Oh man, I can't tell you those though. That's another subject or another segment.
When you get a stubborn one in particular, you have some words with it.
When I get a stubborn one that I can't, because I'm trying to move fast to keep it moving, keep it going, to keep my momentum and my rhythm, and I just toss them to the side. I don't like throw them and say, open up. I just put it to the side and grab another.
Come back when you got time, huh?
Yeah, and I just end up grabbing that oyster again somewhere along the way in. You know, like you say that term, piece of cake.
You gotta love it to stay with it so long. I imagine.
Yes. It's just something I do now, and it became a part of me.
I certainly, in my mind, when I think of New Orleans, which I've been coming, I used to work here back in the 70s, which when I first had you shuck an oyster for me, and I think of you, except for I don't think of George, I think of Thomas. That's a private joke, because I called him George when I came
That's
in.
okay. And all I can say is, which way did he go, George? Which way did he go?
That's right. So, I think I've asked this before, how often during this job, which is essentially a dangerous job for anyone.
It can be.
You can't drift off in another world in your job.
No, you can't zone out.
Right.
I'd only recommend it when you're shucking oysters to actually shuck, and then all of a sudden someone distract you, like using a sharp tool of any
right.
kind.
Right. Running a saw, a table saw. You don't like talking to someone.
Yeah, and you have to be zoned on what that is you are doing with your hands, and not thinking about anything else.
Let's see that custom knife you use. Huh?
It's not basically. It's just a normal cutlery company, and every different region in the United States or the world itself of oyster knives, they are constructed differently for, I guess, particular type of oysters from whatever region.
So the secret sort of looks like it's sharp and stout, right?
This one someone owned and it broke, and they didn't want it, so I decided to take it and refurbish it. And so I took my hand file and filed it down back into a shape of what it's supposed to look like. And it's comfortable because it's shorter, and I don't have to, of course, you see the difference. This is a new one. This is an ancient one, so to speak, you know.
Seems like it keeps better control with that small one. It doesn't stick out and stab you.
Well, that is not really much of a concern of stabbing yourself. I use the term maybe poking yourself from time to time. It can happen, but stabbing yourself, I mean, long blade, sharp blade. If you slip, you slip.
Yeah.
You know. So it doesn't matter the length.
So be honest now. How often do you stab yourself?
I don't at all.
Never?
I had an accident once where the tip of the blade broke off of the shoes Oyster.
Ooh.
And it struck me on the thumb, 9 stitches. But no, if I was to stab myself every time, man, I'm gonna take this thing and bury it and go find something else to do. I'm gonna make cotton candy.
I would have said once a year maybe, but you won't even tolerate.
You can tip yourself. And when I say tip yourself, meaning poke, where you might just tap your skin. I have people ask that question a lot of times about how many times you done stab yourself. I'm like, ask me how many times I've been divorced, I could tell you.
More than the stab, huh?
And never been married, so there you have it. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah.
I'd say at least everybody's got their own personal list, but to me, you're a New Orleans icon.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And lots of people, and plenty of people, other than lots of people, think the same and feel the same, and highly respect, and
Yes,
I give it back.
I
Highly respect.
I respect all craftsmen. I'm one myself. I'm a pretty damn good carpenter, and I've got 7 hardcover history books to my name.
My goodness.
I decided at 72 to take up a YouTube film.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I was out fishing the bayou yesterday, but
were you lucky on catch?
no, but I was. Well, I was fly fishing, so you can catch it.
Yeah.
It's easy on bait, but fly was nothing. They just weren't hitting.
Yeah, that's all the problem was.
For the last month,
They probably travel somewhere else,
Right.
school out.
Yeah.
And they take
Yes,
trips.
they do. And the weather has changed. I haven't been able to figure it out. I've been a fisherman all my life, but really haven't been able.
Especially if you're out on the bayous, and
That's where we were.
and fish, especially if it's fresh fish, freshwater fish. I'm sorry,
It's brackish, I believe.
brackish. Yeah,
Red, we were going for big
For the
red.
reds,
The
and
bull
then, yeah.
reds. There were no bull reds.
no, they probably was taking a trip. They
Yeah.
probably took a trip. Yeah, but
Was
they
the-
do travel. Like
Oh yeah, definitely. Most
flounders
definitely.
do the same thing, and they go on schools, and you find them a lot.
I'm sort of an expert fly fisherman, but it's on the flats, chasing bonefish, which is a whole different.
Okay.
It's walking in knee-deep water and getting close to them and snapping. I'm catch and release. I don't kill a fish. They look at me with those.
Yeah,
those
well,
eyes.
you want to keep that clean, you know.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to damage that. That's not a good thing now to damage something that you enjoy doing.
I was hoping you made it. I know it's changed hands for the first time in over 100 years, and I was hoping you were still behind the counter because I always enjoyed your work.
Yeah, they haven't got rid of me. That door is a mean door, man. Yeah, I'm still here, standing tall, standing strong,
That's
still
good.
shucking the oyster, and trying to keep smiles on folks' face as much as they want to have a smile. I don't have a Coca-Cola, but I can give you a smile.
I'll give you Coca-Cola for the great interview. I really appreciate it.
You're so very welcome.
And it's been great.
And I appreciate you coming through and taking the time out and to let me show you something.
This is the place that introduced me to oysters and to barbecue shrimp, which I have plenty. I've eaten plenty of them since.
Well, of course, I could dig that.
We were both young men back then, eh?
Yeah, guess what? Still young and hard, baby.
I believe so. Or else I wouldn't be crazy
yeah.
enough to be starting something new.
Except for one in rheumatism.